Hey, welcome to Web3 Weekly with your host, Blockstar Technology.
Let's go.
All right. So, hey, Tommy. So, today we are doing episode 62 of Web3 Weekly podcast. And today we have Tommy from our Australian um, crypto exchange, SwiftX. And Tommy, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're a busy man running all the place, constantly catching up. Not in Brisbane though, right? We caught up with a few other places, but not in Brisbane here yet. So, Tommy, can you please give us some intro, who you are and what, and we'll go into a little bit more into what SwiftX is after that. So, off to you, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on, guys. 62 episodes. That's a mean feat on its own. So congratulations on getting to that.
Thank you.
But yeah, look. I guess very quickly, I'm the head of product strategy at SwiftX. We're obviously a crypto exchange based out of Australia. We actually just had our 5th birthday earlier on this week. So while it doesn't, I guess, sound like a long time, it's a long time in crypto. 5 years is probably the same as
Yeah.
10 or 15 in any other industry. So
Happy
we
birthday, by the way.
thank you very much. We had a cake and everything. It was awesome. So yeah, look, yeah, I'm the, like I said, head of product strategy at that business. I've been there for about 4.5 years, and yeah, originally came in as just a customer. Actually, it's quite a funny story how I actually got started in SwiftX. I
Would
joined
love to hear it.
the exchange just as a customer, I guess, back in late 2018-19, and the founder, Alex Harper, who's founder and CEO, was basically the guy running the chats at the time. They only had maybe 50 to 100 customers, and most of those were family. And yeah, I was, I guess, one of the first kind of clients, external clients, to sign up and yeah, send some pretty I guess real feedback through the live chat channels at the time. It was a pretty new business and
Awesome.
pretty raw and ready, but the guys were always super responsive and super yeah, I guess they were always keen to listen to the voice of the customer without getting into a SwiftX sales pitch here. But we are very customer centric and do listen to customers and help kind of shape what we are today. And I mean, who that is like I said, we've been around for 5 years. We got about 700,000 customers at SwiftX now, and yeah, I guess it's 2024. We're very excited for what's to come. The markets have started to heat up after a pretty tricky 2022, and 2023 was a little bit better, but yeah, I guess a real point of building.
Huge. I mean, Tommy, every time I put my TV on and I see sports on TV, I can't miss SwiftX. You guys are everywhere,
That's good.
right? I mean, especially when the Brisbane Lions. So, right. So, what is that partnership? What you guys have there?
Yeah, so we've done it. We've done a couple, I guess, a couple of bull market deals, I would call them, where we committed to some sponsorships with Brisbane Lions in the AFL and the NRL competition as a main sponsor. So you might see us on the ground in some of the NRL games if you follow NRL, and then directly with the Brisbane Lions, we're the coaches sponsor with them. So we were lucky enough to get to the grand final last year with them, and we had
Yes.
a great weekend with the club. But obviously they didn't get it done, but they'll be back again this year. But yeah, I mean it's a sponsorship deal with them, so it's really about I mean it's sport is something that a good few of us at the business are pretty involved in and have always been kind of keen areas of interest. So it's just an area like another marketing channel and an acquisition channel that we've used, and it helps when you love the thing that you're sponsoring. It
Yes.
that little bit easier. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing with those in those areas.
Nah, cool. One of the good thing about SwiftX that I found was that you guys have a really cool like local focus, especially on the Brisbane, Gold Coast, and then from there outwards, rather than like okay, let's go global first. I think it's like looking like a home crowd, and then go from there. Which is fantastic. So, kudos to you guys.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, Mario.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, you gotta you got to get your shit together at home first before you start to expand. I think that's a mistake a lot of businesses make. They get a bit of traction. We've had some great traction in this market, but I guess the big prize for us is we know that there's another 3 to 5 million Australians and New Zealanders over the next couple of years are going to get involved in the market. So that's a big prize in itself, and I think we're pretty well positioned at this point to capture a lot of that, hopefully.
So
Nice.
Tommy, I agree with you. I think that the outlook is looking pretty good in terms of Australians that are going to enter the market and New Zealanders. And I guess, how do you feel about the recent ETF having an impact on that? Did you see like a change for Swift X and like a pickup from new customers and clients, or?
Yeah, I think the ETF is a bit of a coming of age moment for I think the industry as a whole. It has absolutely affected numbers. I think we've seen 2,500% spikes in trade volume over that kind of short period between the fake ETF announcement that came out first and then the actual real announcement, which was always going to be, I guess, in our opinion, a sell the news type of moment. I think there's a little bit of a misconception that the ETF launch was a failure. It absolutely wasn't a failure. We've been building on the back of ETF news since June, which I think Bitcoin was probably about between 20 grand and 25 grand US. Like, we launched at 47 grand US. So I think there's a bit of a misconception around, mainly around retail. Retail are often quite short-minded. We've all been guilty of it at some point. The new entrants now, they definitely, everyone, not everyone, it's probably not fair to generalize, but a lot of people come in with a kind of a get rich quick type of mentality, and you can kind of learn the hard way. Some people get really lucky, but that's in the 1% of people that get involved. The long-term sustainable strategy is to kind of learn first, and I am a learn by doing type of person myself, so I do like to I'll take a small investment and kind of learn and maybe lose a little bit of that, but you don't kind of make the same mistakes twice, or you're not supposed to, I guess.
You're not supposed to. That's right. Yes.
As we get older, we learn as we go. But I mean, that's another kind of key focus we have as a business. We launched a learn platform last year. We've got a learn and earn module going now as well, where you can kind of learn about different things across the industry. Security is obviously a very, very big one. Scams are prevalent in the crypto space. I mean, it's not specific to crypto, and I really dislike that narrative that goes around that crypto is the only financial vehicle or tool that gets used for scamming, because the dollars are actually used a lot more than that. We know that the facts are there.
Yes.
But something that we've kind of focused on is kind of that education piece, and we've even rewarded people for educating themselves and like turning on 2FA or MFA on their SwiftX accounts. Like, just some kind of interesting little things you can do to help that adoption curve and keep people safe. So that's always been a key focus of ours.
Yeah. So we love seeing Australian companies, especially in the crypto space, in the blockchain space. I guess it's really cool that you have been part of the company's inception for 5 years. But I mean, being a part of that, what can you say about the challenges that exchanges here in Australia have faced with all the regulatory burden and compliance and, I guess having to overcome these licenses? Do you feel as though it's kind of like pushing people offshore, or what were some of the challenges?
How long do you got, Maureen? Look, it's definitely been challenging. I think a kind of way I like to phrase it generally is, it's like starting behind Usain Bolt, 100 meters behind Usain Bolt, and trying to beat him to the end line. We've seen overseas players, and look, competition is a good thing. No, I've got no issues with competition, but if the playing field is level, that's fine. But the playing field in Australia hasn't been level for the local players for a long time. I'm not going to sit here and complain about that or make excuses. We need to do better as well. We need to be better, and we need to innovate quicker, and all the things that we need to do. But largely, it's I think from the product angle, putting my kind of product hat on for a second, it's really, we're at a disadvantage in that sense when it comes to regulation, what's allowed, what's not, what isn't allowed, the gray areas that exist in the market, and just some of the enforcement actions that have been taken against players in the market trying to do the right thing at times. And again, I think the regulators, ASIC and the people that are putting together the legislation for, that is coming, I think they're doing an awesome job, and it's a thankless job, I think, especially when you have quite vocal crypto and Web3 crowd kind of coming down your neck most of the time. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Maureen, yes, we absolutely started behind the 8 ball. We've managed to do pretty well. Our business and a lot of other great Aussie businesses, exchanges, and peers of ours have done really well in the space. But we still see, I think the stat that I heard at the crypto assembly down in Sydney last year was 90% of all value goes offshore to trade. So that's a huge opportunity, I guess, in my eyes. That's the opportunity. We've got 90% of volume to try and claw back to our shores. But the sad reality is, that's what's happening right now. And I guess to your point as well, Warren, a lot of business is being pushed offshore because we just don't have the same types of opportunities as because of regulation. At least right now, we don't have the same types of opportunities as an overseas player coming in just offering 100x leverage trading and all these shiny and kind of sexy things that people want to do. So at this time, even earn programs like we had before, which we closed down, kind of these kind of products are just quite difficult, and we really have to tiptoe around our way to bringing those types of things to market.
Yeah, 100%. So, Tommy, I just want to go back to the beginning a little bit. So, what does your job role entail? Like, what does it entail as a whole? Like, I know because I met you quite a few times out there. You guys you're always out there, man, right? You're just like such a trooper, right? And I would love to hear like in the community, like when they see you, what is your thing job entails, and you have like an amazing team around you as well, supports you, who I met in Sydney as well. So can you give us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
Just
look,
about
my background's in kind of project management and managing teams, right? I came into SwiftX originally as a business development person. So like we just started up the exchange. We needed liquidity providers, we needed payments companies, we needed banks, we needed all this kind of core infrastructure behind the scenes to be facilitated, and we just, I guess I was the first person at the business to do that.
Yeah.
I've worked across every department, pretty much every department apart from I think compliance and HR at SwiftX, like at some point, which is I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. Maybe I shouldn't be telling people that. I can't find a spot for myself. But look, today it's the product strategy. That's what I'm really focused on. It's what are the next things that we want to do? What are those products and features that our customers are asking for, and how do we deliver on them in a timely fashion? I'm on part of the executive team at SwiftX. We have an executive team of about 7 people running across different parts of the business. So we take a very collaborative approach to everything we do. Generally, everything you do in crypto touches a lot of departments anyway. Be it the legal team, be it the compliance team. It's just such a, I guess, and that's that's part of my strength, I think, is probably bringing people together and working through some of the biggest challenges. But my everyday work day could be anything from working with Treasury on facilitation of asset movements to workshopping a new product or a feature with the team, or presenting back to the executive team or the business as a whole.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Can you give us an idea of what some of the products and features most people are asking for, or is that a secret, like to be launched and surprised? Or
I know that people are chasing Tommy for like to listing tokens.
Yeah,
I do get about 850 messages a week about listing 50 different tokens. That's for sure. But thankfully that's not my area. It's one of the areas I remove myself from. For a few different reasons. But look, it's I think I've kind of spoken to them there, Maureen. Like a lot of people want to earn staking rewards. A lot of people want to earn they want to like earn those dividends on their cryptos. That's where we're going. We're going there with that regulatory safeguard, I guess, of how assets are managed, custodying of assets, just protections, like general customer protections, is something that we have always, I guess, lobbied for, and we've always wanted it. We wanted regulation. I am, I guess, a crypto native, or an early crypto adopter. I've been in or around the space since 2013, which is, quite early, but I kind of came in and went out. That's a different story. We might touch on it at the end. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, that generally the native crypto people don't want anything to do with regulation. That's a generalization as well.
Yeah.
We want to be regulated. We want to own our own private keys, and we want to do all these things. And I agree with that 100%. But the industry won't grow with that type of
Mhm.
and for me, it's not just about growing SwiftX, but growing the industry as a whole. Like, I believe in it as a new financial market, a new regulated financial system that we're all striving and working towards, and it's paying off. That's the beauty of it, right? We
100%.
spend their careers doing things that never pay off, or you just never, I guess, get to that end state. We're nowhere near the end state, by the way, just to clarify.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of work,
Yes.
a lot of growing up to do, both as individuals and businesses, right? But we're getting there. Like, you asked about the ETF earlier. That's just another feather in the cap for the industry, I think, as a whole, and it's a stepping stone to what to where we're going, as opposed to any kind of an end.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just touched on like security. How do you feel about a lot of the high profile security breaches, and what are you guys doing to protect your company and the assets of your customers?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could rattle off all of the security initiatives that we have delivered and we have kind of in motion across the business, but that's probably one area I'm not very well versed on. But we have our full ISO certification, and our asset, our company, because of our turnover, has to be audited by registered auditors every year, which is a big body of work for a crypto exchange. But yeah, I mean, all of those things kind of combined, we use Fireblocks as kind of our custodian. So like, no one person at the business has access to assets. You might have seen some documentaries on Netflix where founders kind of
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen.
Oh yes,
we've probably seen them all, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's things like that are just kind of I guess our 101 of asset management, and managing of client monies is something that we're not required to do, as we're regulated like the equities industry right now.
Yeah.
But we're still, and I think most of the exchanges now are conforming to what we know where we're going. We're already doing the things that we know we're going to have to do in future. So yeah, look, there's definitely a lot more to that, but
yes.
At a high level, I mean, it's pleasing to me to know that we can view the full value of all the assets on the platform, and have confidence. Even just me, from my own reputation, going speaking at events with you guys and doing things like I don't want to have to put my neck out and put my reputation out for someone else behind the scenes to have control. And that's unfortunately, that's actually how it works at a lot of other bigger businesses, because the people on the ground presenting the brands, like the FTXs and these guys, there's a lot of people representing businesses, and they just don't know how they work under the hood. So I guess that's something that I'm very pleased to be able to stand on and have confidence in speaking to people about how we do things at SwiftX. So yeah, it is and I think it is a key point of differentiation for us as well, which is something that we probably don't push forward enough, but it is very, very important.
That's pretty cool. I think having Fireblocks to have those customer asset separation, I think that's super interesting. I think that plays a big picture in that space now, which is fantastic. So, got a quick question about these cycles. So, how many cycles have you seen
So this
in
would be
your long? I would say, like, we say this space goes in like dog years, right? Like you said, just 3 years doesn't mean that you are just 3 years. This is like like almost 21 years.
Yeah. Look, I mean, in terms of cycles I've been in with my heart in my sleeve, this will be my third one. But when I came in, kind of, it would be 4 cycles if you kind of count it from the start. But I was definitely not. I was young. I was traveling and I was hanging out and doing the things you do when you're young. And I didn't have a lot of disposable money for investing or anything like that. It's they always say the perfect time to invest is, when you probably just didn't have any money or didn't care about it. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's the reality of it, right? Like, we'd all love to go back to 2000 and buy houses in Australia, but
Of course.
we
Yeah.
weren't in a position to do so at the time. But yeah, look, it's really my third kind of major cycle. I invested in, go back, I guess, a step. I bought Bitcoin kind of back in 2013 and got absolutely wrecked.
Oh.
Bitcoin had done, I think, 6,500% that year, and I bought it at $1,000 a coin, and it went up to 1,100 and then crashed back to, I think, $150 or $200 in the space of about a month. So that was my initial foray of investing in Bitcoin. Obviously, look, I mean, looking back at it now, I just didn't have the experience in that market at the time, and I think the market was so young and at that time, you didn't know if it was going to go left or right, or if it was actually going to be around in a couple of years. It was a very much .com bubbly type of thing, back then. But yeah, I mean, look, I mean, the rest is history, right? Look, we've seen what's happened now, and it's well on its way to be a long-term financial instrument, and I'm very excited about the direction Australia has taken, even coming out earlier in 2023, giving us the guidelines that the AFSL regime will be applied. We will wrap the crypto requirements, I guess, into that, and it will be a subset or sub-license of the AFSL, which that was actually a bigger win and a bigger moment for us at SwiftX than any ETF launches. Like that was really the the nod that, look, Australia takes this seriously, and it is going to be a new market that we're all we've got to lift the standards. Everyone has to lift the standards, and I mentioned the Crypto Assembly conference I was at in Sydney last year, like the end of last year, and a lot of the experts, a lot of the analysts speaking at that kind of spoke to a mass consolidation in the market. We have, and I agree, we have way too many businesses that are trying to do the same thing in Australia. Like, not everybody can win. When regulation comes in and things are a lot more scrutinized and a lot tighter, and cost of compliance alone for a business like us would be millions of dollars a year. You have to be on steady ground to be able to stomach that, and to be able to build your business in for the future, and really invest in regulations, and that's what we're kind of excited to do and ready to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about this, this market, this industry grew so fast, but it's still very young when you think about it, because we are still onboarding new people like every, I mean, like you guys can, I think probably you have more insight to it. Given that it's so young and still the regulation hasn't caught up with it, the technology is going like, crazy speed. People are still learning, so losing money. I mean, like, we met with someone yesterday up in Brisbane.
About to say this,
yeah, right. And what do you say about 1/3?
Of the scams?
Yeah.
He said that to someone. 1/3 of scams are with crypto, and she's like, yeah, which means the other 2/3 are with fiat money and other currencies, but they like to focus on crypto. But just to touch on what you said, I think it's really funny because, of course, as it's probably more prevalent to you, but as outsiders looking in, some days it looks like we're doing great. We're protecting consumers by coming in and really regulating and legislating exchanges to protect them. And then on the other hand, we're really ruining things with our taxation laws. And it's, sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're helping or hindering, and whether we're, putting too many burdens and, regulations and sending it offshore. Like we met with a friend yesterday, and of course we're losing so much innovation abroad because of the constant regulations here. So I love what you said about picking up our standards in Australia, but it's also hard when we're losing the consumers because they're getting taxed so much that it's almost pointless to invest in some of these projects. What do you think of that? Are you seeing any difference because of these tax laws, or is that a question that goes above your head? I don't know. But what do you think?
No, look, it would have been a question that went above my head, I would think, probably back around the 17, 18 run, but it's something that I guess we've had to put a heavy focus on. Like, we want to create an environment where it's tax friendly for our users. Like, that's everything from just educating them on what they need to do with crypto, as a, 'cause it's obviously a taxable event every time you dispose of crypto, right? So that that goes for everything from, if you're spending your crypto from something else. I know there's some nuances where you're not taxed on it, but it's 90% of the time you are. So like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's really, I think it definitely hinders investors. It's definitely something that they have to think about, and I think there's a responsibility of the exchanges and platforms that are like pushing forward products as well to users to ensure that they are aware of what they're incurring every time they make a transaction, or whatever it is. So yes, we're a business, we're a for-profit business, we want people trading, but on the other hand, we want to be around in 20 years, 30 years, right? So
Hmm.
there's no point getting quick wins with customers. Quick wins with customers is how you go out of business fast. So it's about creating that kind of sustainable path for their investing. Not everyone's going to win. At the end of the
Yep.
day, people take their own bets and take their own gambles. And yeah, I mean, we list 350 assets on the exchange. Not all of them are going to be Bitcoin or are going to be winners, right? Like, but that's for us, it's always been about creating a diversified market and trying to bring as many of those options back on shore for users that are not going offshore. They're not continuously taking chances on exchanges or platforms that they see on Twitter and offering them 10% profit a day. And we see, you guys are well aware of this as well, but it's scary what people fall for at times. So for us, it's as much about our business doing well as it is actually trying to keep the value on shore, and making sure people don't get wrecked, essentially.
Yeah. So Tommy, how does SwiftX actually decide which projects get listed on your exchange?
We have a team, like an asset listing committee, essentially.
Yeah.
That's been around for the last 2 years or so. There's a whole host of criteria, Maureen. It's pretty intensive.
Yeah.
Look, and some people ask the questions about, you list meme coins and you list this and that, and you won't list X project, and there's always some kind of a bias towards it when people are talking to you, which is, of course, a lot of it comes down to liquidity provision as well. Like we have kind of minimum liquidity requirements to list on the exchange, because we have so much exposure to customers. We need to make sure they can get out, not just get in, but get out, right? So look, there's the basic things like the tokenomics, max supply, like, yeah, I mean, there's a whole list of things. I'm not part of that committee myself, but we do have a group. I think it's about 5 people on it that stretch from data analytics to somebody from the legal team to commercial people and people within product as well. So yeah, it is a whole process that does take time. It's not a decision that we make when we wake up in the morning and list it before breakfast. It's a long process, but it's, yeah, look, we don't have the most assets, but we have a good number for this market in Australia, and there's plenty of assets that we don't list, or we delist at times when they don't meet the kind of minimum requirements that we have. And we'll continue to do that. It creates a lot of overhead. It is a lot of work, following numerous different networks that have their own maintenance and upkeep and downtime and forking of networks and airdrops, and it's a hell of a lot. We've got a couple of the guys that look after that. They're absolute guns in the space, and they follow everything that's happening in the space, even like way more than I do. But it's such a fast moving beast. It's hard to stay on top of every single thing.
No, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's the things like, keeping on top of what's going on. I think we are in the space and we can't keep up, and what I'm thinking is like, if you're not in the space, what chance have you got? And if you're not in tech as well, I think we had to have sort of empathy towards people when we talk about, I think for us, we're like, oh, Bitcoin, and we put like cryptocurrency, all these words out there, like it almost like big data or AI. We just, I think that we have to be very conscious about talking to people. And I think the more we try to, I think, shove things in people's mouths like, oh, Bitcoin and crypto, I think that's the worst thing could happen. People push people out of the industry, or the sector. So, Mate, what do you see? What's different? What do you see, like, this cycle compared to the last cycle? Do you see anything different, or do you see like, it's the same pattern, just like a new people coming and doing the same things again?
Yeah, it's I don't see it all that differently, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
That there's new narrative drivers that are starting to form right now. I mean,
Hmm.
we started with AI at the start of 2023. We seen all the AI tokens running, and then that ran. Then we had a bit of a run in the meme coins.
Yeah.
GameFi is probably the biggest one for me. That I think it's started its run. It's starting to build, especially GameFi infrastructure is probably one of the big opportunity cases I see. Tokenization of real world assets is yet to. I mean, everyone loves saying that thing, tokenization of real world assets, but very little people know what it actually means or what to do with it. And I think
Yes.
the retail market specifically, I think that will come to a head over the next kind of 18 months. But I
Hmm.
guess right now for me, it is very much the same. The narratives are, like I said, the narratives are starting to form. There will be, we'll look back from this podcast in a year, and we'll probably have a fair idea and be able to put our finger on, two of the key drivers. I think from my seat, the biggest, I've kind of touched on it. The biggest area of opportunity is, or the most bullish thing that has happened to us is the fact that we have these regulated products now that are coming across the desk. Like the ETF is one. Like I said, it's one that is exciting on a global level. At an
Hmm.
Australian level, what was more exciting for us was definitely that AFSL piece. But yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely the market is growing up. A lot more people have access to it now, so that's probably what I see is different. There's 401ks in the US that can now have access to direct spot Bitcoin. I'm excited about the next ETF. That's
Oh,
something
yes.
I've been kind of speaking across my LinkedIn a fair bit on, and Twitter as well. Is we there precedent has been set, probably right in your wheelhouse, Maureen, but like precedent has been set now with the Bitcoin ETF, and the fact that Grayscale initially won their case, their BTC case against the SEC for turning it into an ETF. They also have an Ethereum one, right? So for
Yeah.
me, and not to point the spotlight directly at it, but I do believe we will get an Ethereum ETF in 2023. Sorry, 2024. We're in 24 now.
Yep.
Change the calendar, but I do believe we will. I don't think it'll come easy. It's not going to come. I don't think
Hmm.
it'll come in May like a lot of people are thinking. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I guess look at the price. Look at what prices did after Bitcoin. Bitcoin sold off
Yes.
and Ethereum started to pump. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite got on the lens of the retail just yet, but it will. And when it does,
Hmm.
you see a lot happening in that space. A lot of the assets like um, you know Optimism and Arbitrum and these kind of scaling solutions on Ethereum
Yes.
as well have they've been massive. Even some of the new L1s like Sui and Say, and these are all pumping like
Yep.
that kind of infrastructure narrative for me has been probably my strongest and an area have had most conviction over the last two cycles, not just this one. So I think that's an area that I would I'll definitely be focusing on myself. But I think if I was to point my finger to one, it definitely would be the GameFi area. I think that's really one that has never had its full chance in
Yeah.
an environment where we have retail FOMO, we have institutions having access, we just have so much bullish momentum. Caveat to this whole thing: when everyone thinks it's going to go one way, it usually goes the other way. So
Yeah.
trade with caution. It really depends on what type of investor you are, I guess, as well. So whether you're buy and hold, or if you are trading on margin or on leverage, I mean that's it's always going to be a dangerous play.
Hmm.
It's something that should only be really reserved for 10% of traders in market, if not less.
Yeah. Speaking of which, type of investor, like what are you seeing in the market, Tommy? Because I guess it feels as though whether people like it or not, and regardless of more sophisticated institutional investors, do you think that crypto is bringing in a younger market?
Hmm.
Because I know a lot of older people that we talk to are still in the belief that Bitcoin is a scam, crypto is a scam. A lot of people are entering the market, but are we seeing the youth of tomorrow really uptake cryptocurrency? Is that your view, especially when you say things like GameFi?
Yeah.
Would you say so?
Yeah, well, I mean, GameFi is a multi-billion-dollar industry on its own, right? Without crypto at all, right? So,
Yeah.
take crypto away from it, it's a thriving and growing industry. I think the problems that, if you even want to call it a problem, it's an opportunity. I think that crypto creates is that just like the NFT fungibility piece,
Yeah.
assets within games, and that's just one piece to focus on. And I'm not a
Yeah.
gamer myself. You guys can get a lot more. A lot better guests on to talk, more specifically to those opportunities. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the age demographic, I think we just have such a wide spread. Like, I think our average age of our users is about 26, 27 across,
Yeah.
700,000
Okay.
users. So
Yes.
we do have, institutions, we have family offices and SMSFs, and we support all kind of different types of accounts, like trust accounts. We see a lot of young people coming in. Something that has been really pleasing for me, probably more from the SwiftX perspective, is the reactivation of accounts that have been kind of dormant for so long. So a lot of people are just not interested for 18 months or 12 to 18. So now they're reactivating their accounts. So for us, it's great because we don't have to spend any more money to go and acquire new customers. They're just kind of customers that just kind of had put it to rest for a while and had either not invested or invested in something else, or probably just like me, no money to invest because the mortgage keeps going up. But yeah, I mean, we definitely are seeing younger people come through as well. I think that goes back, the responsibility falls back on us or me in the product seat at SwiftX. Is we need to make it accessible. We need to make it easier. Even for advanced traders, advanced doesn't have to mean difficult. Advanced trading is something that a lot of the Aussie exchanges are not well known for. I would say we're known for really more vanilla spot, really safe, and that's an area that we are looking to expand on at SwiftX, which I don't mind kind of sharing. It's that advanced trader space is something that we want to capture, and again, it goes back to that 90% of value leaving our shores. We want to try and capture more of that and see what we can do there. But yeah, in terms of the demographic, it's just so wide of a variety, and there's all different customer channels and acquisition plays that you can do to try and attract. Like, we did some stuff across TikTok. I don't know anything about TikTok, by the way, but we did stuff on TikTok. We've got Instagram. Like, these kind of channels are where you break the demographic, that demographic lens open, and you start to kind of really mix and match the people. Because I think, like, I'm 35. I still use Instagram kind of a bit, but like, I know that 16 to 18-year-olds use, to 20-year-olds use Instagram still as well, and kind of like more TikTok. It's really just about having a broad acquisition strategy. That means you kind of, that average age continues to fluctuate. But I guess there's one point I will make is, I think it's something that it took us quite a while to realize is less is more sometimes when it comes to customers. You want higher quality, higher volume customers, because the overhead that 700,000 customers creates is quite a bit. You really, we would probably, if you turn back the clock, we would rather 150 or 200,000 customers that are in a different bracket, or you just don't make money off a lot of customers, and that's every business is the exact same. But it's probably a key area of focus that I have on my kind of lens at the moment, or on my desk is how do you attract those people? What are the things that you need to do to break the barrier with institutions? And as crypto moves into, or digital assets in general move into this regulatory landscape in Australia, it opens the door to so many more people to be able to and allowed to invest in. Like, think about the superannuation industry, how many trillion in Australia.
It's huge, right? It's untapped.
Yeah. So now, all of a sudden, all of a sudden you have products, you have new asset classes that these funds can invest in. And, I'd bet most of what I have right now to say that a super fund in the next 5 years will have some allocation to digital assets within it. Probably not going to be your Australian Retirement Trust or any of these guys, but one of the fringe kind of super funds. So, and 5 years might even be might be too long. It might be a lot sooner than that. But I guess that's that's kind of what we're looking at.
Mm.
I've done a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah.
No, so I got a question with regards to when there was a time that we had few, like 2023 was eventful, right? We had like all the the few big players in this exchange space thing, and then we had a couple of banks as well, like the Silicon Valley Bank and few of the banks, and we had big tokens like crashed as well.
Yeah.
So it's like an eventful like 2023 in a bear market as well. um, in a situation like that, I feel like it almost like it was like perfect storm. It's like everything was just coming down. I think it was like really testing the industry, like as the sort of the investors, and we have few incubation as well with Blockstars, and so those startups pretty much were tried during this time as well.
Yeah.
And it almost created like uncertainty, like, oh, is it going to survive? This is like the regulation was coming down. In a situation like that, what do you guys do as an exchange? Do you guys go more like, oh, we're gonna just hide, or we're gonna go, okay, we have tighten up our procedures, or what does it look, what do you guys like, what's the situation room look like when FTX and Binance and or was it like down the pub?
It's yeah, it's funny when you call it situation room. We actually do like war room type stuff at SwiftX quite a lot.
Yeah.
I hope we never have to do one again, but we had to do a lot of them over the last kind of couple of years where, yeah, there's a big industry event. Whether you're affected directly or not, you're always going to be indirectly affected. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting together as kind of a team and putting together that team for the war room to discover what are the impacts going to be.
Mm.
We need to speak to our customers. Yes, FTX is not SwiftX, but we have FTX at the end of our name, so people think
Yeah.
we're like all this shit happens, right? And
Yes.
you can't go away and hide. You have to be out there. Like, I think I did my most events in the bear market this like
I know.
18 months.
Yeah.
I probably didn't do anything during the bull market because I was so busy. I was afraid to sleep and crying most of it. But yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
you have to be out there. You have to front. I mean, we went through a pretty tough 18 months ourselves as a business. Like, we contracted from 300 people back to 120 in a space of 18 months, right? Like, that's a huge contraction. So we've got the battle scars, I guess, to go through, and a lot of lessons learned along the way. We all are kind of we wear that ourselves, and hold it up high, I guess, as a great learning for the whole business, our founders, me, like everyone. We've all learned so much, and we won't make those same mistakes again. And I guess in those types of situations where there's a lot of things going down, you need to contract. You need to put the business first, not emotions, and you need to think about what's we want the business to be around next year and the year after. What are the things we need to do right now to protect the business? And while these things are the absolute hardest things to do at the time, whether it's letting people go, or whether it's losing a service that you have or a provider that you have that you pay, like we've had to do it all, right? Like, and this is not specific to SwiftX. Pretty much every tech business has had to do this,
Of course.
over the last 2 years. But it's hard. It's tough. It's tough to go into the office on a week where you've done 100 layoffs, right? Like that shit is hard. I don't want to ever have to do it again, and hopefully we won't have to. But yeah, I mean, these are areas where it builds strength and builds character in people and businesses, and yeah, you have to be strong enough to wear it. And what you get from that, I think people at the time often forget the amount of growth that actually brings you, and that's not that's not a throwaway comment. It's the absolute hardest thing at the time, but it's such a great learning experience for a lot of people that again, if I had my choice, would I do it again? Absolutely not. But in hindsight, you look back on it, and it does. You see how much you've learned and how much you've grown, and how much just people all around us have that are still at the business. We still have, I think, we're at about 110 people or something like that at the business right now. But I mean, in those learnings, we've learned how to be more frugal across the business,
Yep.
how where to save money and where to spend money, like just
Hmm.
just literally, in every area. And yeah, we've created a far more sustainable business into the future as well from those kind of early learnings.
I have a bit of a random question, and you may or may not know the answer. I was reading not long ago about a few companies overseas that obviously deal with crypto holdings and assets and NFTs, and talking about protecting yourself. Are there insurances available? Like, can you get insurance now? Have we come far enough where companies do have insurance policies against like security, cyber hacks, losses,
Yeah.
anything like that? Are we at that stage in Australia? I probably should be more across this, but I'm not.
Have you been reading my emails, Maureen? I've literally have a conversation going around insurance in the industry at the moment, which is it's funny. I was literally looking at it like before we started the podcast, but I don't know. I need to double check you guys. Look,
We're in forensics.
yeah, look, there is. So Fireblocks itself, actually, our custody provider, we do we do have a level of insurance that covers any kind of malicious acts within the
Yeah.
technology itself. So I think that's at about 250 mil worth of insurance that sits across the whole vault system. The individual, it's quite a nuanced area. This is,
Hmm.
I wish there was a yes or no answer here, Maureen, for you, but unfortunately there isn't. It's it still has,
Lawyers.
it still has a long way to go, I guess, is probably the short answer. There
Yeah.
are areas where insurances are coming to the fore. We are kind of workshopping what we can do in that area right now, because, and the reason for that is, while we want everyone to take ownership of their own private keys, store their assets, that's going to be 1% of people in crypto, right?
Yeah.
Realistically,
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
1% of people. And if it's 2% of people, that other percent are probably going to mess it up, and then it's going to be
Hmm.
it's going to be a sorry case, right? So the real opportunity is, what can you create around insurance? What can you create around the user experience and that wallet, the wallet infrastructure piece? Like, what can you do to just make it so easy for customers and um, so worry free for people that
Hmm.
they can confidently leave their assets on any exchange, or
Yeah.
Swift or any exchange, without having to worry about taking ownership. Like your equities trading platform, you're not worried about trying to get that into your own bank vault or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're going. I mean, we can learn a lot from just looking directly at our friends in the equities market. That's where it needs to be. That's where it's going. All of those areas. You can
Hmm.
you can, if you're an institution, you can obtain additional coverage for certain things. Like, if you manage $1 billion of assets, you can spend a bucket load of money and get every one of those assets covered. But it's a nuanced coverage. There's just like, you're not actually covered for everything. You're covered in
Yeah.
certain situations, and the situations that they cover are actually one in a kind of billion thing to happen anyway. So they're kind of money. It's money for jam. The people that are paying it, in my opinion, at this stage, we would have got it ages ago if it was a simple, let's go and acquire some insurance and we're all sweet. Just the kind of on demand nature of how crypto trading happens, and the fact that we're a broker, we run across multiple platforms to trade. There's always liquidity
Hmm.
shifting from place to place. Like, you can't insure all that. No insurer is going to insure all that in every single instance. So yeah, again, there's just like nuances there. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think we're probably 2 years, 3 years away from coming onto SwiftX and signing up and checking a box to say that this is your insurance policy, tied to the exchange, and go for your life. People will always have the opportunity to take personal custody of their assets as well. I think that's a kind of a crypto native thing that we should always try and keep, and I hope we never get away from that
Yeah.
accessibility, at least, where that
Hmm.
1% of people will always be able to do it. But yeah, we need to get better. We need to make the products better. We need to make the technology smooth, so safe and so smooth for people that they'd never even consider custody, and the people that do know about it can do it, and that's where we get to.
Cool. I'm conscious now we are coming to that time. I think we had a hard stop. So before we finish, come on, let's part of like a funny story. I mean, like, you've been in this industry like since 2013. I'm pretty sure you have seen some crazy things. So come on.
Yeah, look, I kind of started telling the story at the start of the podcast, and it kind of wavered. I don't know what happened to us, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just my general entry to crypto. My cousin was he's a lifer at Dell Computers, and he just like typical story where he starts talking about Bitcoin at the Christmas table. We were having Christmas dinner, and
Yeah.
I kind of obviously didn't have money at that time, went away from it, didn't end up getting involved until a couple of years later. But then when I came into SwiftX, I think it's quite a funny story of like basically like giving one of the founders shit on a live chat is what got me the job. Like
Yeah.
that's how I ended up getting my start in crypto. It was a respectful exchange, I would say, but it was definitely I didn't know I was speaking to the founder at the time. Not that I would have
Yeah.
spoken any differently. I'm a respectful person, as we all should be, but regardless of who we're speaking to. But yeah, I think that in itself is a story that I like, and it's one I'm quite proud of. Tell that story around just getting started with the exchange. But that's more or less 5 years later, and forged essentially a new career out of it. You could say, really. I didn't 5 years ago.
Yes.
I definitely didn't see myself being a kind of executive in the space and a leader in the space in this market, at least, which is really
Mm.
exciting and pleasing, and anyone can do it, right? Absolutely anyone can do it. I guess there's one other one I'll leave you guys with is I have this mate. He's an American guy. He's about 50, like absolute hates crypto skeptic. He's one of my kind of mentors. I like to kind of surround
Yeah.
myself with people that are not in the same camp as me and believe different things than I
Good.
do. Kind of
Yep.
challenges, tell me when I'm full of shit and tell me when I'm onto something in that kind of, scenario. But um, I finally got him to invest in crypto back just at the end of the last bull run, and yeah, of course he got wrecked.
Yeah.
Only like the high caps. So like my issue was he tried his best to kind of try and get me out of the industry. He's like, you need to get out of this while you still can. Like this is real. I was like stop. But long story short, he ended up selling everything at at the bottom of the market in the middle of the bear, and very very sorry story. And like I said, try and convince me to go a different path. And yeah, I think just last week after the ETF was approved, he sent me a message and he's like,
Yeah.
I was wrong.
I was about to say that was meant to be a funny story that was very
Yeah.
sad.
No. Look, it's not going to be the making or breaking of this man. I can tell you, so it's okay. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just it's funny how these things go, and it's definitely not a I was right and you were wrong. I told you so story, but just it shows there's so many people in that mindset, and what I'm hoping is this type of news around ETFs and that actually starts to get people to challenge their own beliefs and thoughts on
Yeah.
whether, because a lot of people still think that it's just all a scam and it's all not gonna it's not gonna be around long term, and we're not it's not going anywhere. But we don't believe that. We believe it's something real and something that we can build great
Yeah.
businesses and forge careers on. So I think there's so much opportunity in the space. When I hear people speaking about I've missed the boat in crypto, I need to look for something else, AI or whatever it is, like we're just getting started here. We really are. So yeah, it's great to have been around early days, but I think the best is ahead of us.
100%. Wow. On that note, I don't want to even say anything now. On that amazing note, thank you so much, Tommy, for your time, and your insights as well into the world of exchanges, because we only see log in, log out, and do trades
Sure.
as well. So, but hearing what's being done behind the scenes, especially with to safeguard your retail customers and what you guys are doing and what you're pushing towards, and still being humble enough to say like, okay, you still have to do more things as well. And it's amazing. And being a local as well, just up the
we
road.
we hope to see you at our next meetup, at our first meetup of the year. Then, really,
Yeah,
do you know about
hopefully.
that, Tommy?
Yeah,
6th of February.
send me the details. I'll try my best to make it. But no, I appreciate being invited on, guys. It was great to have a good chat about a broad variety of things, and yeah, I appreciate your support as well, guys. You guys are always I know you guys always speak highly about myself and our business, and yeah, we really do appreciate that support. It's something that we need, and something that we've always focused on. So it's great to see it kind of coming back in return as well.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Tommy.
much, Tommy. You take care.
See
See
ya.
ya.
Bye.
See you, mate. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Subscribe.